everybody and welcome to the channel. I am Richard. Today I'm gonna bring you out on a vacation to a tropical, beautiful island that all of a sudden gets covered by some mysterious fog trying to swallow and kill us. I'm sorry, but now we need to flee this island. It's your job to get all the islanders on boats and get them off this island before, well, they disappear in this damn fog. I'm gonna show you The Fog from Solux Games. This is a 1 to 4 player game. It's around 45 to 80 minutes of gameplay and it's from 10 years and above. And the game is about you being on an island when all of a sudden the fog comes and swallows everything in its way. And now we need to get off it. This is a prototype, so the version that will come out on Kickstarter later might look a bit different than the one we have here in front of us. But I'm going to show you the setup, I'm going to show you an overview of the game and go through some of the rules. So let's just have a look at it. This is the setup of the game. You have the big board in the middle for all players to easy reach. You put the islanders next to the board along with the obstacles. On each of the 3 boats, we need to put some preparation bonuses. On the blue and the red boat, we start with 6 on the top, going all the way down to 2. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the top. On the green boat, it's a little bit different. We still have 6 on the top, but in the bottom, we finish with 3 instead of 2. Each player chooses a player color and puts one of their player colors on number 7 on the movement point track, indicating that you have 7 movement points left. Each player also receives a player aid, looking like this. Each player gets a certain amount of player discs depending on how many players you are. This is a 3-player game, so you should have 10 discs. You also take the 4 boat scorings, drop them on the board in random, and then place them out on A, B, C, and D in descending order. Each player also gets 2 player counters. They take 1 and place them on 0+ in the top right corner, and they take the other one and place them down on 0 on the track. Then we take the fog marker, and again, depending on how many players we are, we should place them on different numbers on the fog track. This is a 3-player game, so we place it on number 10. If we would have been 2 or 4 players, it would have been 9. If you're playing with advanced rules, you also have 2 time classes. The starting player of this game is whoever got swallowed by fog lately. And you know what? That actually happened to me last weekend. So I get to go first.
That did not happen.
Yes, it did happen. I was out on that island and I got...
You're lying!
It happened. So I take my player token and I place it up on number 1 on the board. Now, before we place our tokens here, it's important that we make sure that we have the right side of the board facing up. As you can see here, it says 3. On the other side, it says 2 to 4. So I take my player token and I place it on number 1 in the round field. Now the player to my left places their token on number 2 below me. And then number 3 places their token on, well, number 3. You then take the turn marker and place it on the green field in the top left corner. Last thing we need to do is to place out the islanders, but also the obstacles. If we look at each beach row, we have letters from A to J. And on the opposite side, we have numbers. Each number here represents how many obstacles and empty hexes there should be in each row. So on this first here, there should be 0 empty hexes and 0 obstacles. But if we look up on this here, for example, we have 1 obstacle and 1 empty hex. The only difference is up here on row I, where you have, in a 3-player game, there should be 2 additional empty hexes. So if we take E here, for example, we should place out 1 obstacle at random and 2 islanders at random, leaving 0 hexes empty. But up on beach row F, we should have 1 obstacle and 1 hex empty. Now, there are some rules when placing out the different obstacles. You may not place more than 3 obstacles in adjacent spaces. There may not be placed more than 3 obstacles adjacent into the woods. And there may not be more than 2 obstacles placed next to each other in a row. So this game is about us being stuck on an island, trying to get to our boats and flee before the wall of fog comes and devours us all. This game is played out during 3 different phases. The first one is the draft islander phases. This is where we go according to the turn order, but from the bottom up. Starting with the lowest one at the bottom that gets to draft some islanders, placing their player discs beneath one of the islanders out on the board. So, for example, choosing this green one here, placing their pink disc under it, and now this islander belongs to this player. Now we keep on following the order on the board, going up to the yellow player and lastly over to me, until we have drafted every single islander out on the beach. Once we have drafted all the villagers, we move into phase number 2. This is the movement phase, where we actually get to move our little villagers around. Each player have a total of 7 movement points, remember? And we keep track of these movement points by moving this little token up on the movement track. Now you can spend these movement points however you want to. You can spend them all on one villager or split them up in different ways. Just remember to move this down every time you have spent a certain amount so you don't lose track. And we will keep a track on who will get to move by following this turn track board. To see who gets to move their islanders, we need to take a look at the turn board. This is the turn board. I am player 1, yellow is player 2, and pink is player 3. Whoever has the turn token next to their player marker is the player that gets to move their islanders. Once a player have used all of their movement points, the turn token goes down 1 step. So now it's the yellow player's turn. Once they are done with their movement points, they move it down 1 step, and the turn goes over to the pink player. Once the pink player is done, we move the turn token over here to the green field, indicating that now we should move the fog marker 1 step down. Now during 10, 9, 8, and 7, you do not move the wall of fog yet. But when we come up to number 6, we will start moving the wall of fog up on the beach, slowly swallowing whoever is in its way. But what kind of movements can I do during my turn? Well, you can do quite a few movements actually. You could, for example, spend 1 movement point to simply move your villager 1 step ahead. Or you could spend 3 movement points to swift places with another villager. Just remember to always keep a track on the turn track board here so you don't get confused on what you have or have not done. You could also spend 3 movement points to push 2 villagers in front of you. Just remember you always need to move or push against the boat, so you can't push somebody the other direction. Another move you can do is to jump over another islander, spending 3 movement points. But you can only jump in a straight line. If you're in a tight space and you want to get through, you can spend 4 movement points to squeeze through any islander or islander and obstacles or 2 obstacles. You could also use 4 movement points to cross any obstacles. Each islander also have different symbols beneath their faces. These indicate that they can do these movements for only 2 movement points instead of 3. The number 3 means that they can perform squeeze and cross for 3 movement points as well. The +1 indicates that when this islander has finished movement, they can run 1 more step. Once we get out into the water, the movement starts to act a little bit different, because out here, all movements will only cost you 1 movement point. Plus, out here, you can move through another villager, as long as you land on an empty space after moving. You can't do that on land. Also, in the water, you can only use run, switch, or endurance, so the other movements are out of question. When you get up to the pier, there will be 3 steps for you to move on. As you can see, the boats have 3 different colors, indicating that they belong to 3 different nations. If you look at the villagers, you will also see that they have 3 different colors as well. We have blue belonging to the blue, of course, the green belonging to green, and red belonging to red. Each villager can board any boat they want to, so they are not bound to their color, but they need to be placed on an image that looks like the image the villager have. So this villager here would not be able to be placed up on this one here. It would need to be placed down there. If you're boarding from the pier, you need to board on the section that you are standing. As you can see, there's 3 different sections on the boat, so you can't board the boat like this. You would need to go straight to the sides. Any player that gets their villager on a boat first gets to take the top preparation bonus. The second player to board a boat gets to take the second preparation bonus, and so on. You can board the back of the boats directly from the shore. You can do this by simply moving 1 step forward. But you cannot exceed the amount that the back says. So here can only be 3, there can only be 2, and here can only be 3. Once you're in a boat, you can't get off. So if you all of a sudden are having second thoughts and you really want to join the fog instead, well, too late, you're on the boat, you can't get off. But there's actually a way for other players to jump on the seat that you're in. If, for example, you're trying to join a boat here that is of your nation, your color, you can actually take your villager and put it on top of the villager that's already in this seat. Or if you're trying to get on a boat that is of your nation and the villager in that seat is not of that nation, you can also put your villager on top of that villager. And the last way, if a boat is completely filled up and there's no way for you to get on a boat with the movement points you have, you're also allowed to jump on another villager. So once we have hopefully gotten all our villagers up on the boats and shipped them off the island, we go into phase number 3, and it's time for us to see how many scores we have actually received. For each villager that we have of the same nation as the boat, we get 4 scores. So for example, this player here have gotten their green little villager on the green boat, so they will get 4 points for this villager. Then we need to look at the different boat areas. Remember, in the start of the game, we put out these little bonuses out here in the side. Now we need to see how many villagers we have in each area. And we will get the bonus per villager per area. So if we have villagers up here in section A, we would get 6 points per villager in that area. 5 in area B, 4 in C, and so on. Once we have calculated that, we need to see how many villagers we left behind. You will, of course, get a minus point for each villager that have been devoured by the wall of fog. And we can see how many points you will lose by looking at each beach section next to the letters. If you are down here, for example, you would lose 6 points. But if you are up here, you would lose 4 points. The last thing we need to calculate is the preparation bonuses that we have hopefully received. Once we have put it all together, well, we have a winner. The rules of this game are not that hard, and once you have gone around a couple of turns, all players will know exactly what they can or cannot do. But like I showed you in the beginning of the game, you can add hourglasses. But what are they for? Well, this is for stressing up your gameplay a lot. So when you are going to do your movements, you turn this around and you only have this amount of time on you to actually get your movements done. But you can also add enhanced movements as well. You can play in teams, or you can put up a rule that says that you need to save a certain leader, or that there must be a certain amount of islander on the boat to it even be able to take off. So what I have shown you here in this video, that was just the basic rules, but you can add all these enhancements as you go along and you become better at the game as well. Plus, there is a solo version of this game also. In the box that I have just received, there was one scenario where a gamer plays against the game itself to reach a certain amount of golds. Now, this is just a prototype, of course, so all of the obstacles here might change and look a bit different, but to me this looks quite cool. The artwork is quite old school, I would say. The villagers simple made, but it gives the player an easy overview of the game and will make it really easy to understand where they can move, where they can't move, and what they're actually able to do on the board. Besides the 3D printed obstacles that I have used during this video, we also have these token obstacles. The player aids in this game gives the player an easy and quick overview on how the different villagers can move and what they actually are allowed to do. But not only how they can move, but also how you can board the ship. There you have it, people. That was The Fog Escape from Paradise. This is a cool, fast family game. It's a fast setup and it's a fast gameplay. You can play this with your kids and you can just put it up on the table. There's no need for them to learn a big, thick instruction books because this game plays out pretty simple. And all the little symbols on the villagers themselves, but also the player aids, makes the player come into this game quite quick. So this is for you that enjoys a good little strategic family game that's not too heavy. Put it up there, eat some pizza, and have a great evening. This will be out on Kickstarter soon. There will be links down here in the description. So if you want to know more about this game, well, go in there and take a look. That was all for me this week, people. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Throw in a comment what you thought about the video or what you think about the game. Are you gonna check it out? Write to me. I love to interact with you. If you like this channel, please subscribe to it. Give me some support. Gives me a smile on my lips every time I get a new subscriber. And until next week, people, please don't forget to spread the board gaming love. We all need some love every now and then. We all need some help every now and then. Don't be afraid to ask how a game works, and don't be afraid to help a brother or sister out. Until next week, people, take care. Peace.